Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking Business with me, Danny Pardo. It's not every day you get a chance to speak to a commercial airline pilot, but today is one of those days where I get to speak to Mark, who is a commercial airline pilot. And we have got a doozy of a show for you here on this one. We're talking a very different path from what you might expect into the world of being a commercial airline pilot. Some amazing career advice, the training that you have to go through, financial costs involved, as well as what it's actually like to be a commercial airline pilot. So here we go. Let's talk business with Mark. Hello, everyone. We are talking business again. We've got Mark with us today. Hello, Mark. How are you?
Hello. How's it going?
All good. Thank you very much. Really excited to chat to you. It has been a while, and we'll get into that in just a second. But before we do, you're here to listen and watch Mark rather than me. In case you didn't know, Mark, but this is all about you. So who is Mark? Who are we speaking to today?
Well, I came here especially for you, Danny, because you're. Mark, who is Mark? That's an interesting question. I'm just.
Don't tell me I've stumped you on the first one.
Yeah, who is Mark? It's a strange question.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about your background.
I grew up in Erdington. Not a great part of Birmingham for those who are around there, but it's all right. It's nice. It's nice. A nice, wholesome upbringing. I did all right at school. And then managed to get into aviation, which was really by accident. It was off the back of being of having no direction and where I was going, which is a terrible name for a band.
It's a tribute band. It's got to be a tribute.
It is, yeah, no direction.
It's got to be.
Me and a few friends were going to do an aviation-based tribute band called One Diversion, but it never came about.
It's a bit niche. It's quite niche, isn't it? You're playing airport lounges and things like that. So
that's it.
Get the music on the go. But okay, so you did. So you went to school. Did you do college and university?
I went to college, and I did the. If you want to be in aviation, the thing to do in college is obviously media studies.
Right. As you are living proof of this, yeah?
That's it, yeah.
So we go school, college, media studies. Do we do university?
No.
No? Okay.
Although I did do university, but I'll come back to that later.
Oh, okay.
No, I've never studied at university.
Whoa, okay. So all the stereotypes now, anybody listening, watching, going, okay, I thought he was a pilot. Like maybe the blurb is wrong for the episode or something. That's fantastic. I love this little story that it's just completely changed what anybody might have been thinking as we started off here. So we said briefly before we started this, but it's been about 20 years since we worked together. How do we know each other, Mark? What do you remember? Please don't say nothing. This is going to be really embarrassing for me if you say nothing.
What's your name again?
Oh, it's written at the bottom.
Yeah. So yeah, it was. It was in the travel sector, wasn't it? So it was a company called Carlson Wagon Lee Travel, and
yeah. So we're going back to 2001.
That's it.
2001, 02. I started after you, I think, didn't I? 2002, I think.
Okay. Yeah. 2001, I was there because I lived in Tenerife for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I came back.
Yeah.
And that was my job.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking like 19 years ago since we sat in the same office.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And we had a 4th-floor office. A little story forever. We had a 4th-floor office that flooded because Birmingham. Going back to there, then. So we're in 2002, 01, 02, 03, that kind of era. We're sitting in the same office. And then this is what I get really interested in. Our career paths go, let's say, somewhat different. So I veer off into teaching and you veer off. There's probably a plain joke here, but I'm missing. You veer off, divert. Yeah. You divert into, did you go straight to aviation then? Or what happened then? What's the journey since 02, 03?
Remember me and Harry moved to Canada?
Yes. Yeah. Tried the Canada thing.
We did, yeah. We tried the whole Canada thing for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Some would call it a holiday, but no, I call it immigration.
Yeah, well.
And so that didn't really work out. So I came back, tail between my legs, got a job at HSBC,
Okay.
and yeah, it wasn't too bad there. So I worked there for a little while,
Yeah.
and then moved to another team and hated it. So I got a job at a place called Accident Exchange.
Okay.
They do like posh cars. So if you crash your nice BMW or your Porsche, they give you a like-for-like replacement, and then they claim it back from the insurance. So I worked for them for ages, and they were very generous with their wages.
Okay.
So that's what. Yeah. So, but before then, I'm skipping ahead.
That's
2003 it was. I was at HSBC, and yeah, I wasn't really enjoying it. And when you sort of a bit low, who takes charge? Your mum. So, my mum was getting me these things to try and inspire me and things like that. So I had one of them racetrack days, and I had a flying lesson. It was in a little Piper Tomahawk. It was at Nottingham Airport with a company called Truman Aviation, which I don't believe exists anymore. But Nottingham Airport's still there. It's just sort of at the end of East Midlands Airport runway, which is a perfect place to train.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Major international.
It is, but no, it's a fantastic airport. And yeah, so I had one lesson there, and I thought this is pretty good. Like everyone, I was absolutely nervous beforehand. And you go up, and they let you have a little go in the controls, and you just go over the basics. So not only do you see if you like it, you see if the instructor can take a little snapshot and draw you in. But yeah, so I did that, and I loved it. Wow. So I worked out, can I afford to do my private license? And I thought that'd be nice. I'll keep working office jobs. I'll just fly around at the weekends. That'd be lovely. I worked out I couldn't afford it, but I did it anyway. And I was quite fortunate. It was over the winter.
Yeah.
And so, notoriously bad weather. But it put a few hairs on my chest. So I was a little bit more familiar with flying in more rough conditions. So that gave me a good head start.
Yeah.
I went for it. I really went for it. I had 2 weeks holiday.
Yeah.
So I just did a really intensive. The private license, it's 45 hours. It was 7 written exams then. It's 8 now. They've thrown another one in.
They do that with driving all the time as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Just test you more. So nice one. You did it when it was only 7, so that's good.
That's good. Yeah, I managed to escape one. And so I got my private license within about 4 months. I think it took.
Okay.
My aim was to do it in 2 weeks, but that was a bit ambitious. But yeah, I got my private license in 4 months, and then I thought this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I was at HSBC at the time, and then so then I moved on to the generous Accident Exchange.
Yeah.
And that let me save up to do my commercial written exams.
Okay.
Of which there's 14.
Wow.
And it's good. I'm notoriously not
studious.
Less than I don't know. Would you describe me as less than confident, Danny?
Less than what? Competent or confident?
Confident.
Oh, confident. No, I'd say you were always rather confident from what I remember, unless that changed during the time. Yeah. I'm still kind of processing this school, college, media studies, no university, business travel, banking, accident exchange, pilot routine. I'm laying it all out on the table in front of me going, I can't see the links there. So this is fascinating, because it goes against everything that you're kind of ruining my job a little bit in terms of you have to pick your courses at your options at year 9 and then stick with them. But it's just fascinating. So how long did it take then? So from the moment you had your first Your first lesson with, was it Tomahawk Aviation, you said? No, that was the name of the plane. Truman.
Tomahawk was the plane.
Tomahawk's the plane, yeah. What an amateur. So from the moment you had your first kind of session with them to the moment you had completed your commercial license and were able to be employed then to fly passenger jets, how long did that take? Obviously, you weren't doing it full time. You didn't do it all in like one summer. You saved up and paid for it. So what kind of time frame was that to go from first lesson to I have my license?
Well, before you can do your commercial license, you need to build up a number of hours. It's 150 hours of you flying on your own.
Right.
So obviously that's a big expense, and that's the sort of thing that I was doing at the weekend. I was working in the office in the week and then paying for that at the weekend. Also trying to save up to do the commercial written exams.
Right.
And yeah, so that was a very, very slow process, the hour building. So that took 2003. So that took about 4 years.
Wow.
And then and then I went to do the written exams. I was doing them in the evening initially.
Right.
I thought I can't work during the day and put all my concentration on this in the evenings. It's just absolutely killing me.
There's only so much you can do mentally, no matter how whatever your faculties are, there's only so much you can do.
There is, yeah. And I think I took just to strengthen your position, Danny. I think at school I was more about, although I did all right on my exams, I think I did take away certain aspects. I was always all right at maths. I was always quite good at English, and I think I took away more the processes and the aptitude for learning from there. And then and I think that sort of transcends when you're paying for it yourself.
It does, yeah. But there's a little bit of extra motivation, isn't it?
There is,
coming out of your pocket, but essentially you're either going to throw that money away if you don't stick to it or commit, or you go for it, don't you? And like you said, you went for it.
Yeah. So that's it. So I thought I can't do this in the evenings, and I had saved up a bit. So I did the ground school course full time at a company called Atlantic Flight Training at Coventry.
Okay.
Who don't really exist anymore. I think they're Airways Aviation now, and they're based in Oxford. But and that was good fun. I think that was my university. that was great fun. Made loads of fantastic friends there. There were guys who the majority were doing their commercial license. They were going straight through. And there was a few guys doing their helicopter license. And we've remained good friends. And that was in 2008, 2009.
Right.
And about 2 months, it's 6 months to do the ground school. So you do 14 exams. So you split them up into a 5, a 5 and a 4.
Right.
And we had a great course doing that. It was lots of nights out, lots of drinking, but most of all, it was we all had the same aim and we all had the same objective. But going back to the confidence thing, every time we came to the end of the course and we took the exams, you had to go to specific locations. Then I think there's a lot of online stuff now. It's changed a bit since I were a lad.
Oh yes, decades ago, literally.
Every time I walked out of an exam, I was like, I need to book it again. I need to rebook it. I failed this, and I did quite well on all the exams, all first time passes. All generally above 90%. And but I was convinced. I walked out of each exam thinking, I've screwed this up.
What if you had to do one now? What if there was another one that came out that all pilots had to do? Do you think your confidence would have improved now because of your experience? Or do you still think back in your mind, oh my gosh, it's an exam, I don't do exams?
I mean, there's certain exams which I think I'd find reasonably easier, and there's certain exams which I think, oh gosh, there's a lot of it where there's some of it where it's quite practical. There's some of it where that's information. I've got to remember that. That's a stat. I've just got to remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, the thought process going on there. And you're obviously good at what you do, otherwise you wouldn't be still doing it. Have you ever totted up the total financial cost of training? Or do you not do that just in case the figure is too high and you can't handle
it? No, let me work it out in my head. But
okay.
There's a few routes that you can go down. And for today, if you want to do it the way I did, so I did the private license first. I did my own hour building, then I did the written exams. The commercial, there's three bits to the commercial license.
Yeah.
After the written exams, you've got your commercial license, which doesn't really enable you to do a lot. You can fly. You can technically fly for money, but you need what's called the instrument rating to fly in bad weather. Not that you would fly in bad weather, but you know what I mean.
I do. Yeah.
Without sight to the ground.
Yeah.
And then the final bit of that is called the MCC, which is where you sit in a simulator, the multi-crew cooperation course, and you sit in a simulator with another guy, and you learn how to talk to them.
Okay.
And how the communication in the flight deck works.
Yeah.
And once you've done all that, you've got what's called your frozen ATPL, Airline Transport Pilot's License. And for me, or for that route now, you're talking somewhere in the region, I would say, of about 40 to 50 grand.
Wow. That just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Just 40 to 50 grand, bad. So.
Yeah, but if you break it down, God, I did it over over 5, 6 years. So when you break it down over 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and you'll pay £27,000 over 3 years to go to university. So, when you compare it to that versus the job security and the options open to you from the route you did, the financial investment seems worth it in all fairness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're a commercial airline pilot now. One thing I wanted to ask, being a pilot, I'm going to ask this like an exam question. Being a pilot is glamorous. Discuss. Because we watch TV, we watch movies, and all these things are happening, and you take off and then you put autopilot on and then you get back to work in 9 hours. So being a pilot is glamorous. Discuss. Go on, your turn.
I think glamorous probably isn't the right word.
Right.
You're up about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, or getting home at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, depending on what shift you're doing. If you do something like a Tenerife and back, that's 4.5 hours there, 4.5 hours back. And that's just you flying. So you've got to be there an hour earlier. You're probably there about half an hour after. You're leaving the house, traveling. So you're looking at about a 12-hour day. So glamorous probably isn't the word. You are going into an environment where you're with very like-minded people, and so you get there, you get to fly this amazing contraption.
I'd love to hear your spiels when you get on. Welcome on board the contraption.
Yeah, that's
right,
it.
Please do that next time. That'd be amazing.
That's it. You'll notice the pedals under your seat if you want.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll keep going.
Yeah.
So you get to fly. You get to fly this amazing aircraft, and you get to have a bit of a laugh with the person next to you. You've got the cabin crew to chat to, which again, if that's something that you get into the aviation industry for, they see pilots all the time. They know what they know what terrible people we are. It's like,
get straight to the point, why don't you? I love it. Can't believe I'm interviewing a terrible person here. You've come across so well the first 17 minutes, and now all this kind of news is coming out about you.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yeah. So I mean, it's quite a heavy job. Then, in terms of a 12-hour day in any job is difficult.
yeah.
Mentally, physically. Um, as a teacher, I know this. So, how do you cope with the stresses and the pressures? Has that changed over the years? Do you feel more comfortable now, or are you getting nervous, excited, stressed, pressured? What are like the feelings during the course of a day for you?
There's not really a great deal of stress or pressure. Obviously, you want to get away on time.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do your best for your passengers.
Yeah.
But stress and pressure, especially of the job, it doesn't really come in. And I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and I think the reason for that is, we're in the simulator quite a lot, twice a year. You get beasted on all the emergencies and stuff like that. So you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
The training, once you start an airline job, is in the region of about 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
So you train for what you do. However, I think anytime you fly, whether it's a small aircraft or whether it's a big aircraft, you're not really, unless you're on like a big modern one with Wi-Fi and all of that sort of stuff. You can't check your phone. You've got no signal. You're sort of away from everything. You're away from the ground. So all of your stresses at home become obsolete.
Yeah, because you can't connect with them, can you? It's not.
Oh no, you can't check
You're
with them.
constantly checking the phone and the notifications.
Yeah. So you've got this level of freedom where all that you're doing is concentrating on on the task at hand.
Wow.
And before you go, you plan exactly what you want. You decide what fuel you're getting, all of that sort of stuff. You know how long the flight is, so you know when you can do specific jobs, when you'll be talking to people on the radio, when you'll be changing direction, when you're going to cheekily ask for shortcuts and things like that. So so you know all of that, and then every flight that you do, you get more and more comfortable. So yeah, the day-to-day stresses are probably not from where you think. It's more about getting away on time and things like that.
That's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating insight there from somebody who does it. Thank you for that. Here's a random question for you before I ask. Actually, no, let me ask the next one. See, such a polished interview, isn't it? So I'd be a bit silly if I didn't at least mention the word COVID. So where are we now? 1st of April. Happy April Fool's Day. There's still time in this interview for you to do something, but maybe I should have reminded you. We're in April 2021, March 2020 is when the UK really became affected by it. What about your role, and is there a normal returning? Have you, obviously, I'm not asking for confidential information. Is there a feel that things are getting back to normal, to throw the air quotes up?
Yeah, obviously everything is from my perspective, and what I'm saying is my opinion.
Yeah.
But I've been on furlough for about a year now. There's been a little break over August, September, and October when I went back for a bit and did a bit of flying. So that was good. That was good. However, we've been very well informed, but it all depends on what the government say.
Yeah.
So we're all on tenterhooks waiting for that. I think there's an announcement in the next couple of days, isn't there?
Yeah, it just sounds like the process we go through here, where the students ask us, what's going on? It's like, well, we get the information at the same time as you. We don't have any secret information, and it sounds pretty much similar to you, but you wait for what the government is saying, then you can make your decisions based upon that. So, well, I'm glad you're still, employed there and furloughed and ready to get back, in the pilot seat.
That's it. Yeah, we've been kept nice and current in the simulators, and we've kept in touch. There's lots of ground school courses that we've been doing. So there's CRM, which is communication within the whole not just the flight deck, but the cabin crew, the ground staff, all of that.
Okay.
Mental health awareness is a big one,
Yeah.
and it's quite prevalent in the industry, especially at the moment, because we all love flying and we're not able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm an instructor as well, so I've kept that going, my single engine stuff, and we're allowed to instruct again in the next couple of weeks. The 12th, is it? I think.
Yeah.
That's when
non-essentials and all those are opening. Yeah.
Yeah. So the 12th, I can get back doing a bit of that. I was doing not a lot, but a little bit of that last year. Yeah.
Wow, you sound so passionate about it. Am I right? Are you passionate about what you do? Is it like a way of life for you now?
It is, yeah. My little lad is all about. I mean, he's only 2, and he's if we haven't got planes on YouTube, he's kicking off. But yeah, these Red Arrows.
Wow,
Todd's favourite film.
Wow, get all these air shows back on and everything, and you'll be enjoying it. Yeah, I mean, your passion and your dedication is unmatched. What you've done, and as I said at the start, going from literally sitting in the same office 6 feet away from each other, to what you do now and what I do now, but focusing on you is just that dedication you've had is amazing. What great message to send to our students. But if you want to do something, do it. I mean, I know that's easier said than done a lot of the times, but you saw what you wanted to do and you went, I'm going to do that. And then now you're doing it. I've got to ask a question for my dad. Okay. So,
Okay.
Random one here. Do you, and what do you think about playing flight sims on computers? Because he loves his flight sims, but don't let's change your answer.
Flight sim. I mean, I use flight sim. I use it more for familiarization. I think the actual handling of the aircraft is a little bit hit and miss.
Okay.
But to navigate your way around an aeroplane, or to find out where all the instruments are, all the things, you can have a little practice on all the different switches and stuff. I think that's it's fantastic. I love flight sim. It's good. It's good.
You can have that kind of. You can look at it as a training tool and an enjoyment tool, or if you're not a pilot, then you can just have a bit of fun with it. And if you are like then you can still kind of learn things from it. That's fascinating. All right, I'm going to throw a question out to you here that I haven't prepped you for, and so here we go. All right, you ready? Last one. So, firstly, thanks for all this so far, and secondly, the question is: if you could go back to when you were 17 or 18, finishing up college, and you wish somebody had given you some information that you'd listened to, or if you could go back and give yourself some information and advice, what would it be?
Start flying.
I thought that as soon as you started talking about your career changes, I'm like, oh, he's ruined that last question now.
I think I don't know. I think any insight that I would have got would have changed my my path.
Yeah.
So whilst I got into aviation a little bit later than some people, and there are 2 roads to go down. I'll just come back to that just for a second. You can do it the way I described and the way I did it, or there's the integrated route, like a 0 to hero.
Yeah.
Which at the moment I think is somewhere in the region of about £110,000.
Wow.
And you throw your money at them straight away, and you do like a 0 to hero course in about 18 months.
Wow.
And you can do it that way. And I used to teach that way as well. But yeah, it wasn't for me. A little lad from Erdington.
Yeah.
Listen to what everyone's got and make up your own mind. I think it would be the only advice. However, I'd have loved to have started in aviation a lot earlier.
Yeah.
But if I did, your life wouldn't be the way it wouldn't turn out the way it has. So, I met I met my wife working at HSBC.
Mm,
So if I'd have got into aviation a lot earlier, I wouldn't have met her.
yeah.
I wouldn't have met you.
I know.
That
Gosh.
would have been
Who would I be talking to right now? I'd just be staring at the screen, blabbering to no one.
the great love story tarnished, wouldn't
I know, yeah.
it?
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you for that advice. It's so useful to hear people who have done these different paths. And again, that career route you've taken, just stunning. And I can't wait to share that with everyone, for the students to hear it, give their opinions. And I'll get some opinions from them and pass it back to you as well, because I'm sure they'll be fascinated by it.
Yeah,
I'm sure they will.
there's a lot of luck in it as well. I've been very lucky in the sense that when because I went back to HSBC after I did my commercial stuff, and because the market collapsed, you remember the big financial collapse?
Yeah, 09, yeah.
So I couldn't get a job for ages. I was at HSBC for a bit. I got a promotion that I absolutely hated.
Okay.
So yeah, so I left, and because someone agreed to take me on as an instructor,
Mm.
and I did that, and then 6 months into that, I stayed loyal to them. But 6 months into that, I started teaching commercial.
Mm.
They trained me up for that, and then I was very lucky.
Mm.
I did aerobatics with the old company at weekends,
Wow.
and then I got to teach with this other company called Command Pilot Training.
Okay.
We did more the weirder stuff. So I got to go and teach down at Boscombe Down,
Mm.
the Empire Test Pilot School.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
One of the guys I was teaching was an examiner on the Typhoon.
Wow.
So he had nothing to learn from me. But
you must have found yourself sitting there going, maybe I got the room number wrong or something.
That's it, yeah.
That's brilliant.
But yeah, they had to get because they all had military licenses. They had to convert. They got a new aeroplane, which was a civilian reg, so they had to get the civvy licenses and.
Amazing.
So yeah, this
experience. Oh my gosh,
guys.
things on your bucket list you never thought were on there. That's amazing. So
that's it. Yeah.
So all that
yeah.
and a little bit of luck thrown in.
Yeah. It's been don't get me wrong. It's a long old slog. It can be difficult, but it's such good fun.
Oh,
it really is. It's great fun.
And thanks for sharing your passion with me and for everybody else, watching.
That's it.
It's just, it's brilliant. I love it. I could talk like this for hours, but I've got lessons and you've got your day to get on with. And we did say 30 minutes, and I'm looking at my timer here. That's pretty amazing that we kept to that. So what I'll do, I'll say thanks again. Stay on the line after this. We'll have a quick chat. But yeah, cheers. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you giving your time. And your insight is just so unique and special. I can't wait to share it with people. So thank you, Mark, and we'll see you again soon. Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Bye, folks.
Well, thank you very much, Mark, for those stories there. What a journey you have been on, from sitting in the same office as me to being a commercial airline pilot. How great and how inspirational that is for anybody considering a career change, not just into being a commercial airline pilot, but just thinking, this isn't for me, I'm going to do something I love. And hopefully Mark's story will inspire you to do just that. So thanks, Mark. Thank you very much to all of you for watching and listening. You can find me on all the usual social medias. Just have a look for Pardo's Business or Mr. Pardo's Business. And I thank you very much for watching and listening to this episode of Talking Business. We'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.